Hey, what's up? Let's do some math today. In this video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions. I know, everyone's favorite. They love fractions. But you got to remember, fractions are your friends. And once you figure out how to do it, then it becomes a lot easier. So first, I have sort of a process that we'll do, how, and then also have a couple of don't do rules. Please don't do these things. Okay, so let's start off with how to do it. So number one is we have to make sure we have common denominators. Denominators. There we go. All right, that's the big thing. Make sure the number downstairs is the same. After that, we combine only the numerators. Okay? Only the numerators. So that might mean that we're going to add them. It might mean we're going to subtract them. It depends on what we have going on between them. Then the final step is to simplify / reduce if needed. Okay, so let's now go over to this don't do side. Things that just drive math teachers up the wall and make them very angry when they're grading your papers. All right, first one is don't combine without, oops, actually let's write it all out there, without common denominators. All right. Second, don't combine denominators, period. Actually, again, let's write that out. Combine denominators. Denominators. There we go. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what will drive a math teacher up the wall. Just make them go absolutely crazy. If we were to say something like 3/5 plus, let's just say 1/4. All right. People have been known to write stuff like this, 4/9. I cannot stress to you how wrong that is and how we do not want to do that. Now notice, these are not the same. Okay. So that's strike number one. Strike number two, we combine the numerators. Okay. That's cool if the denominators are the same, but this never happens. We never add the denominators to get to a different denominator. Our denominator should stay the same. So let's take a look at some basic examples and then kick it up a notch from there. So our first example, let's just stick with red. We have, so in both these examples, we already have common denominators. So we have 15 and 15, and then here 20 and 20. So now it's all about combining our numerators. And so our numerators are 4 and 2. So the denominators are going to stay the same. It's going to stay as 15 down there. That does not change. So again, notice these are all 15. But we'll combine the 2 and 4 with the plus sign to get 6. Now taking a look at it, let's see if we can reduce it. And this one we can reduce because each of these has a factor of 3. This is 3 times 2 and this is 3 times 5. These 3's can be reduced and canceled out. And what we're left with is 2 and 5. And so what that means is that our final answer would be 2/5. Box it, walk away. Over here, again, we have our common denominators. So our final answer will have a denominator of 20. And then we go 19 minus 3, which is going to be 16. Again, see if we can reduce it. We can. So 16 is going to be 4 times 4. And 20 is 4 times 5. These 4's go away, leaving us with a 4 and a 5. So our final answer is 4/5. Box it, walk away. So those are the basic examples. The harder examples are where we have to get a common denominator. So let's take a look at this one. First thing I always like to do is just kind of off to the side, I like to write what my common denominator is going to be. Now ideally we want the least common denominator, but we just really need a common denominator. And we might see an example of that later. But my common denominator between 4 and 5 is going to be 20. So the next thing I need to do is take my 3/4 and I need to turn that into 20. So the way that works is I'm going to times it by 5/5 because 5 times 4 is 20. And then 5 times 3 will give me 15/20. Then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. 2/5 times that by, in this case, 4/4, which is going to give me 8/20. Now, off to the side, I'll rewrite my problem. I'll take both these here. 15 over 20 minus 8 over 20. Now we have the common denominator. So my final answer will have a denominator of 20. And then I do 15 minus 8, which is 7. This can't reduce because they don't share a common factor. So I box it, walk away. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, here, if you're not too familiar with your common denominators, here, or least common denominators, a common denominator would work out quite well. So what I'm just going to do, for the sake of ease, is I'm going to multiply this one by 12 over 12, and this one by 10 over 10. It's not the least common denominator, but for fractions, all we need are common denominators. So 10 times 12, easy enough to compute, 120. Now, 12 times 9, might need to do a little bit of scratch work, but it's 108 over 120 minus 50 times, or 50 over 120. Now here, do a little scratch work. 108 minus 50, that's 8, that's 5. And so that is 58 over 120. Now with big numbers, and this is probably going to happen if we don't use if we just use a common denominator, not the least common denominator, we probably take something out. So I'm going to start by taking a 2 out to see what I end up getting from there. So I know I'll get 60 in the denominator, and then if I do 58 divided by 2, let's see, that is 2, 4, and that'll become a 9. So I'll get 29 over 60. That I don't think can go any further, so we'll box it and we'll walk away. Finally, we might have to do this with multiple fractions. But just like we were saying with getting a common denominator, it's no different. It's just more work. So look for a common denominator among all three of these numbers. And what's going to work in this case is going to be 24. So my common denominator is 24. In order to get to 24, I need to times this by 12 over 12. And so that gives me 12 over 24. Plus, times this one by 8 over 8, which is 8 over 24. And then add this one right here, and I'll need to times this by 3 over 3, and that'll give me 3 over 24. And so again, I just need to add my numerators together. My denominator will be 24. And so I have 12 plus 8, which is 20, plus 3 is 23. Box it, walk away. That can't be reduced. So that's how we add and subtract fractions. Again, a couple of things I would love to stress is that we have to have common denominators. Combine only the numerators, and then simplify/reduce at the end. And then please don't do the things I showed you how to do on this. So good luck with your practice, and let me know if you have any questions.